Oh my word, it is fresh this morning. Hello guys and welcome back to Car Obsession. Once more you join me in Ewan, my Audi A6, and today's video is a bit impromptu. I'm driving to Essex to collect some car parts and I thought, what can I do to help kill time on the way? And I thought, actually, let me do a little vlog just talking about my experience with this car now that I've covered about 1,000 miles, maybe a little bit over 1,000, which seems mad because I haven't had Ewan for that long. Anyway, let's fire up the Quattro.
Let's fire up the Quattro.
I know it's not quite the same kind of Quattro, but yeah. So for those of you that are new to my channel or new to this car, this is my oh god, what year is it? I've had a complete mind blank. My 2006 Audi A6 SE Avant 3-litre TDI V6. That's the most important part of my eyes, V6. Now the SE is quite a low trim level, so normally the features are a little bit few and far between, but this car, when it was produced, was peppered with quite a few options, so it is a really nice place to be. This car doesn't have the air suspension, but in all honesty, that is by no means a bad thing, because in my opinion, the air suspension is just something else to go wrong. And to be honest, the standard suspension is very, very good. This is a supple riding car. You could drive this a long distance. I'm almost ticking over 212,000 miles. So I imagine that this car has been up and down many motorways in its time. But like I say, I've covered about 1,000, maybe just over 1,000 miles now. So what has this car been like to live with? In short, pretty fantastic. Now, for those of you that don't know, I paid the grand sum of £1,480. And the more I've lived with the car, the more I've driven it, the more I can't believe just what a good car I got for the money. Don't get me wrong, it is high mileage. There's no escaping that. But just because a car is high mileage doesn't mean that you should just bin it and just be done with it, because I would argue with the right level of maintenance and the right level of care, this car could have many more miles left in it. Look at the Skoda Octavia miles on Car Throttle, for example. That car done over 400,000. So yeah, it's high mileage isn't always a reason to walk away from a car. It's all about how the car's been maintained, how it's been looked after. But yeah, one thing I love about Ewan, or one of many things I love about Ewan, is the fact that, touch wood, everything works. I thought for a car of this age, mileage, I thought, okay, maybe some of the controls won't work, some of the electrics won't work. Where's this Transit going? Transit. What is he doing? Mate, it's a Transit, not a tank. Still don't know where he's going. Yeah, I was expecting quite a lot of the electrics in here not to work. That's one thing I was very careful with testing when I looked at this car. When I bought it, I spent quite a lot of time with it. I think before I handed over my money, I was with the car for about an hour or so. Thankfully, the dealership just let me get on with it, and we're very relaxed and casual about the whole thing, which is great. But like I say, got in it, made sure the electric seats work, which they do. Make sure the heated seats work, which they do. Sat-nav works. Climate control works, although I must admit, because it's winter in the UK, I haven't actually tested to see whether the climate control is actually cold. So it may need regassing, but for the time being, it's not too much of a concern. The engine seems pretty decent. Over the last few weeks, the engine has developed a kind of ticking / chuffing noise. I've spoken to one of the technicians at my work. They said it's probably the injector seals starting to fail. To drive, Ewan is just quite creamy. I think that's a good way of putting it. Just very pleasant, very smooth. The 6-speed automatic works well. There's no juddering, there's no jerkiness, although I don't know the last time the gearbox has been serviced, so I do need to look at the paperwork to find out when that was, because it probably is overdue a gearbox service. And yeah, it's important to keep on top of these things, otherwise you may hit problems further down the line. Ewan is so comfortable. These seats are lovely. They're almost like armchairs. The only real thing I'm missing, which to be fair for a car of this age you wouldn't get anyway, is a massage function. That would be, that would just be the cherry on top of the icing on top of the cake. But the heated function is a godsend, particularly on a day like today where the temperature is, what is the temperature actually? 5.5 degrees. No, I'm not too sure on that. It is, yeah, pretty cold. In fact, I'm just going to reset the trip computer because I'm also filming fuel economy as well. Bear with me. There we go. Perfect. So yes, with this being a 3-litre V6, I wanted to see what kind of fuel economy I've been getting. So that video will be coming soon, if it hasn't done already, depending on my upload schedule. Just quickly, I do want to apologise. There's only 2 angles in here. I know it's not exactly the most dynamic video. It's just this video was kind of a bit ad hoc, and yeah, a lot of my batteries are dead, so I am limited in regards to the GoPros I have at my disposal to use. Speaking of the V6, it does offer a nice amount of power. I wouldn't say this car is fast, although it's not really designed to be, but if I just back off a bit and then just put my foot down, yeah, it does have a nice steady surge to it. The power is quite linear. Yeah, going back to the comfort, it's really good. This car is only on 17-inch alloys, and that is a good thing, because the smaller the alloy, the more rubber you can wrap around it, and that is better for ride comfort. Nowadays, in modern times, car manufacturers are, dare I say, almost obsessed with putting big wheels onto cars. For example, the new Nissan Qashqai, if you desire, you can have that on 20-inch alloys. Why? Why would you want a Nissan Qashqai on 20-inch alloys? It will just ruin the ride. I drove one with 19-inch alloys, and the ride in that wasn't exactly fantastic. So, yeah, this car is kind of from an era where, like I say, alloy sizes weren't everything, but nowadays it does seem to be quite a big thing. Gonna go for an overtake. So smooth. It really is a smooth car. That's kind of the first takeaway I got from Ewan when I first drove him. Just very smooth, which is impressive given his age and his mileage. He's a really pleasant car to drive. And good friend of the channel and fellow YouTuber Pocket Rockets, he did own, he's now got rid of it, well, him and his fiance did own a 2018 BMW 335D Touring. And Chris has always been a big advocate of the kind of big diesel estate, and I didn't really see the appeal until I drove this. Now I've lived with random Volvo estate, just abandoned by the looks of it. Now that I've lived with my very own 6-cylinder diesel estate, I definitely get the appeal. It's just something quite nice about just having a big old barge with quite a big engine in it, but also having all the luxury, all the comfort. To think I got this package for under 1,500 quid, albeit by £20, is staggering. And at some point, by the way, actually, I do need to do a shout out. Speaking of Chris, we have joined forces, and we have now started, well, we'll be starting a joint YouTube channel. So be sure to look out for that. Please subscribe now, because when the channel goes live, I believe we are looking to post a series of videos. The channel is called Those Two Car Guys. I will put a link in the video description below. But as one of the first things we'll be doing on the channel is a cheap estate challenge. Now, I'm not going to give away what Chris bought, because that would be stupid. A lot of car for the money. So going back to ownership experience, have I had any issues with Ewan? Now, not really. As some of you may know, I had to replace the battery almost straight away after I bought him, because it just kept going flat. This car does have a bit of a battery drain, but not a serious one. So at this point, I'm not going to shell out money, potentially paying my place of work to search for something that's probably going to be quite minute. And since I put the new battery in, Ewan's pretty much started on the button, even when he hasn't been driven for a week or two. So that gives me comfort. There is a bit of an oil leak, which appears to be coming from the rocker cover gasket. That's not a small job to do, particularly with it being a V6. Again, I keep regular checks on the oil. I've driven Ewan a fair distance. Well, I will be driving Ewan a fair distance over this weekend, and I have checked the oil level, and it's pretty much bang on the maximum, which is good. And other than that, I haven't really needed to put any money into this car, which is good. Because yes, sometimes it's all good and well getting a cheap car, but then you end up with a money pit. And guys, I know I'm not an idiot. When certain things on this car do go wrong, they will be expensive to fix. For example, this engine has got a timing chain, not a timing belt. Now, if the timing chain were to go, or it needs to be replaced, the engine has to come out. And as you can imagine, that is not a small job. But if the car ever got to that point, in all honesty, it'll just be, I'd just sell it for spares and repairs. It's just not worth outlaying that amount of money for a car that, value-wise, just isn't worth it. Of course, I had to get all of the wheels balanced, because the first time I drove it, about 65, 70 miles per hour, yeah, there's quite a strong vibration coming through the steering wheel, and the car felt a little bit odd to drive. And yeah, had the wheels whipped off, put on the balancing machine, and lo and behold, they were all out, all four of them. So no wonder I was getting such a strong vibration through the steering wheel, because yeah, I don't know who balanced the wheels, so it must have been Stevie Wonder. Thinking of other problems I've had with the car, the trip computer for the fuel economy is about as trustworthy as a criminal, but that will be covered in my fuel economy video. The fuel gauge wasn't working to begin with, which is very strange. Whenever I'd fill up the tank, which, as you can imagine, isn't a cheap exercise nowadays, the fuel gauge wouldn't read full. It would kind of read, I'd say, somewhere half between 3/4 and full. So yeah, but that somehow fixed itself. Very strange. Last time I filled Ewan up, the fuel gauge actually read correct. And that's very bizarre. I thought, how's that happen? I haven't done anything to do that. It just seems like a few diesel top-ups has somehow fixed a fuel gauge. Very strange. Very, very strange. Guys, if there's any content you would like to see with Ewan, please do let me know. I honestly don't know how long I'd keep him for. I actually had a bit of a mad thought the other day, and some of you will probably roll your eyes and think, oh, here we go again. Aaron and his Ferris wheel of cars, revolving door of cars, just coming and going. But bear with me on this one. I had a bit of a thought the other morning. I thought, what about if I sold Ewan at some point, sold Leona, my Mark 1 Leon Cooper R, because she's not staying anyway. That's more of just a little bit of a fun, not project, but anyway, I digress. What about selling Ewan, Leona and Leo, bear with me, and replacing all three with like an S4 Avant, just like a proper performance estate, because that way I've still got a performance car, but that's practical, because Leo is fantastic, but he is a hatchback, and of course he isn't the biggest car, but I've really grown to love Leo, so I don't know if I could do that. But the thought of having like a V6 or maybe even a V8 S4 is quite appealing. I actually stumbled across an S6, which was similar kind of age to this, and it had the V10 in it, of course, used in the Lamborghini family. I thought, oh, very tempting. But I'm not an idiot. I know that engine would just be a money pit, both maintenance wise and of course fuel economy wise. But sometimes you dare to dream. But that's just an idea. I'm not. Nothing's final. Onto the M25. Yeah, that's merely just an idea that's just popped into my head. So as lovely as it is to have 4 cars, it is a little bit, I wouldn't say impractical, just can be a bit of a faff sometimes. I don't know how Smee does it, I don't know how many cars he's got nowadays, but yeah, it can be a little bit exhausting looking after a few cars, and of course it's not cheap either. So it would be quite nice to go back to a 2-car garage, and it's just going to be a lot cheaper and easier to maintain. But like I said, that's an idea, guys. I'd like to get your thoughts on that, because I am a hot hatch lover through and through, and it would be quite sad not to have one in my life. But I do have a family now, and I do need to think about them as well. Lovely day, just cold. But yeah, like I say, if there's any content you would like to see with Ewan, or if you've got any questions about my ownership, something that I haven't covered in this video. I know fuel economy is a kind of a big thing, but that will be covered in a separate video. According to the trip computer, I'm doing 37.5 to the gallon, but I don't think that's correct. Yeah, please do get in touch, and if you've got a similar kind of car, an A6 or maybe another diesel estate that's high mileage, I'd love to know your thoughts, your experiences, whether they're good or bad. And yeah, I'm now on the fearsome M25, so this is going to get very boring, very samey when it comes to scenery. So I will close this video now. I don't know how long I've been speaking for. You know me, I can speak for a long time. I do like a waffle, both metaphorical and a physical waffle. I want a waffle now. That's pity. Yeah. There will be more videos coming with Ewan, of course. At some point, I may put him on a dyno to see what power he's pushing out, service him, then do another dyno. But I think Chris will want to do it as part of a challenge for his estate, which he has nicknamed, as a pothole, that he has nicknamed Keith. What a sexy name that is. But anyway, I really am waffling now, aren't I? Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you have enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.